Hey there viewers, thank you for tuning in to Supermariodiagnostics once again. Today we are going to try our first ever tool review, and I figured it might be a 2-in-1. We're going to compare the Harbor Freight Earthquake ratchet compared to the Milwaukee Fuel 3/8 ratchet. Starting off with the Harbor Freight one, because that's how I started. I bought this about 3 to 4 years ago when it first, maybe about a couple of months after it came out. It's been through its paces. As you can see, it's been worn out. It's gone through everything, and it's still running strong. I actually upgraded to the Milwaukee. I did feel an instant difference. Obviously, the length is a difference, but in my line of work, if I'm honest, it's not the biggest deal. Did I buy it because of the length? No. I bought it simply because Milwaukee has been coming out with some awesome tools. They've made a name for themselves, and I wanted to see what the ratchet was about since I've been dealing with this one this whole time. Couple of differences. One has a light, one does not. Is it a big deal? In my opinion, it's not. It's nice to have, I'm not gonna lie. The next difference would be our batteries. We have a 2 amp hour battery here, and we have a 2 amp hour battery here as well. The nice thing is that they sell them separately. The Milwaukee one goes for 28 bucks last time I checked, and the Harbor Freight one goes for about $25 last time I checked. But in my case, I've never paid for one. I actually had warranted this once. Now, before you go crazy, the reason why I warranted it is because I didn't realize this was my first ever electric ratchet. Main reason why I warranted it is because I thought something was going on with the head. I was working on a vehicle. It was an air filter housing, and it had rubber grommets in between the substrate and the bolt. So what does this do? It started acting as if the head was broken and it wouldn't move because of that slack that was there. So I went into Harbor Freight, and they, without question, gave me a new one. I said, well, can I keep the battery? And they let me keep the battery. You're probably asking why I have another one. Well, I warranted again. Every now and then, I walk in and I ask for another one. That's the beauty of their warranty. They don't ask any questions, and the only question I ask is if I could keep the battery. So I've had a couple of batteries for free. One of the things I did not like about this one is that every now and then, it always seems to be right when I need it the most. This battery has a bad contact. It seems like prongs, I guess we could call it, aren't engineered perfectly, as not at least as carefully as Milwaukee has been. I have other tools of theirs, and has never failed me. It has never given me a lack of continuity between the battery and the tool itself. But this one, every now and then, it just doesn't activate. I have to push it in a little more and then activate it again. The battery life for this one, I couldn't even say, because since I have multiple batteries, all I do is swap them out when they die. I haven't kept track. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know it's a review, but in reality, multiple batteries is the way to go. If you're using this 24/7, multiple batteries is the way to go. Same thing with Milwaukee. I couldn't speak on the battery life because, well, there's countless options. There's 1.5 amp hours, there's 2 amp hours, there's 3 amp hours, 4, 6. I mean, the list goes on. It makes no sense for me to go ahead and try to compare the two when it comes to battery life. This one does have a battery indicator. This we're halfway charged. Let's go ahead and see if we're fully charged here. And this is a brand new battery, actually. Not a brand new battery, but it was been charged. But as you can see, there is no battery indicator. So that's one of the reasons why I had backup batteries, is because I couldn't really tell whether my battery was going to die soon or not. Another difference is the speed. This one claims 170 RPMs. This one claims 200 RPMs. Is it noticeable? Absolutely. As soon as I went ahead and used this thing for the first time, I realized this thing is faster. You know, you have this thing in your hands for 4 years, you get to know it pretty well. And then when you go ahead and use one of these for the first time, yeah, I definitely noticed it. Also, the amount of impacts. This one definitely feels stronger, and also that it has more impact per minute, I guess you could say. You could tell that it's impacting a lot more frequently. Both of them have current limiting features, in which when it hits a bolt and it hits a certain amount of torque and the amperage of the battery rises above a certain level, I don't see another way for them to do it, it sees that current and it cuts it off. Both of them do the same exact thing. Whoever says they don't, I'm sorry, that is just inaccurate. But both of them do it differently. This one, it will stop when it hits a certain torque, but it will continue to retry. A couple of seconds later, it will continue to retry until it turns, or it doesn't, until you let go of the throttle, we could call it. This one, as soon as it locks up, the current limiting feature kicks in. I believe they call it red link or something like that. They disable the current and they don't retry again. You have to let go of the throttle and retry again for it to kick in again. This one usually charges within about 3 hours. This one usually charges within the hour, maybe even 30 minutes, depending on the battery, I guess. This one is about 12 inches exact, just shy of 12 inches. The Harbor Freight is 13 and a half. There's one thing that did bother me when I got the Milwaukee. Just to be honest, in my opinion, I like that the direction selector protrudes from the head. It is cut in. Technically, it is flush, but there are times when we are blindly looking at things. We're in a very tight spot, and there's something here. If you're taking off a tensioner, there's going to be something there. And there have been times, I'm not going to lie, there have been times where I'm unloosening a bolt, and it just backs into this. And only because this selector is protruding, I've been able to stick a small screwdriver, change the direction, tighten it again, and get the ratchet out. Now, I don't know if I would be so lucky with this. Yes, this is flush. When you think about it, they're about the same width from each other. I'm not sure if you can see that, so I'm adjusting. They're about the same width of each other, but there's nothing protruding. There's like a millimeter protruding. And if I was to inadvertently back into a chassis or some kind of frame, I am stuck. I do not see a way out. I might be able to pry some kind of thin piece in there to get it out, but I don't see how I'm gonna save this tool. I don't see how I'm gonna get it out. It may take a lot more work. Another thing that has caught my attention was that if I was busy with one hand holding, say, a compressor, and I wanted to put a bolt onto this end, I could just select whatever direction I wanted without really, too much effort, and keep it one-handed and do what I needed to do. That's a little more difficult with this one. You're gonna have to have some good thumbs, for lack of better words. You're gonna have to have some pretty sturdy thumbs in order to do that same thing. Not a big deal, but just a little forethought is required when it comes to that as well. Not to mention, this one has a lock. It is a nice feature. I like that there's a lock in here in case you throw it in somewhere, in a truck, in a bag, and it won't inadvertently operate on you. This one, you have no choice but to disconnect the battery and leave it disabled. Now, the price difference isn't all that much, to be honest with you. The Milwaukee is about $170 right now, and the Harbor Freight one is at about $130. This one, I got it with a coupon for $100, and with the warranty, it came out to about $120 plus tax. It is a very good tool. This is how I started. I fell in love with this thing, and I never turned to anything else except for when this one came out. I'm happy with both of them. If I'm honest, I keep this on my everyday cart. I keep this one in my toolbox. If I had to choose one, it would be the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee wins on this one. But not because of anything other than I support great brands. I have not been let down not once by a Milwaukee product. So I'm not sponsored by any of them, by anyone. I do not make any money from the company by saying any of these things. These are strictly my opinions. Maybe we'll go ahead and stick to another review. Maybe you would like to see a certain tool reviewed. If I have it in stock, we'll go ahead and do it. If not, I'll go ahead and notify you. But leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and be sure to subscribe for more. I will have Diag videos as well. I'm not going to stop doing Diag videos, but I think it's time for the channel to go ahead and do some reviews, especially with tools that have changed the way I work. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.